Hello. Hello, Living Bangtan, 7 Army, and DG Army. This is Misha. Hey. And I am your host of a Higam discussing mental health and wellness through the healing messages of Bangtan Sunyaran. Woohoo! And I'm so happy that we're back and that we're able to start bringing the shows to you again. Welcome to everyone. Hopefully, we're going to have some lovelies on today so we can do some chatting and discussing. Uh, Thank you so much for our guests and our who will be with us regularly now. Um, Thank you so much. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, my dears? Joanna?
Hi everyone, my name is Joanna Tupas. I am a courage coach and I am a trauma informed educator. Hello.
Tessa?
Hello, I'm Tessa Lashley. I'm a school psychologist and I'm a firm advocate in mental health awareness and wellness.
Ooh. Hooray. Thank you so much. So, with a lot of love and a lot of luck and a lot of blessings, we now have a full trauma informed mental wellness team. And so, what's been really cool is in the past with Angela, who is just taking her hiatus and putting herself together, has a lot going on family, but she assures us she's coming back. She's our education specialist and does a lot of, as you know, when you listen to the shows in the past, she does a lot of work with us on being able to inform how the subjects that we talk about, trauma, wellness, mental health, but self-care, but really the more deep diving for prevention methods, how that's, effective in the school system. And now we have Tessa, who's a specialist as well. So as the team grows, we're just really being able to, wow, bring so much more credibility, relevance, and depth and magnitude of the conversation to Army. I am hoping, that as Army starts to see a little bit more of what we're doing, that we'll be able to get more interaction and people being on the show. For right now, we're keeping the show at this time, which is 4:30 p.m. on EST, 1:30 PST, and we will be having shows coming up in the future where we are working on a schedule with our Army collaborators across the pond. Yay. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but shall we go ahead into our intro for today? So, okay, my friends, welcome to Rainy Day and the Duality of Taeyong, LayOver, JITB New Edition, Take 2, Hobi's one-year journey to knowing more about his true self. So join us today as we chat about our Kim Taeyong, the master of duality and confident awareness, a visionary, an eccentric, and a loving angel. And Tae invites us to be our authentic selves with total abandonment. And discussing our Jung Ho-seok, the master of emotional sense and compassion, a Ho-seok's journey to knowing and believing in his own narrative as Jung Ho-seok, as J-Hope, as Jay, and as all of the people that he has been bringing us. Oh my God, his letter. Woo! We're going to be talking about that letter today a little bit. And so, hello, Army, and welcome back to Living Bangtan 7. And everyone, Borahe, and welcome to the 29th, technically, episode of our show. I can't believe it. 8 months. This week will be the full 8th month since we started. It's pretty insane. It's been an emotional journey, and it's been so healing for me. And I'm so happy to be here. So as you know, Living Bangtan 7 is a platform that the Diversity Geek team created to bring you wellness discussions, content, and musings based on the healing positive messages of Bangtan Sonyeram. The name means living bulletproof 24/7, and our purpose is to help us all learn how to live confidently with self-love throughout the day and protected by the support and the love of BTS and Army. And Level 7 is a reminder of the power the bulletproof or Bangtan philosophy has as a source of healthy, healing, coping, and support when we are struggling to believe in ourselves. Whew, I know it's a mouthful, but I gotta say it every time. And as you know, here at LB7, our entire model is based on world building. So every time we present a show to you, we are creating a safe and cathartic space for Army and anyone who needs to hear the words that we're speaking today, for anyone who didn't have anywhere else to turn on this day and needs a place for rest and respite. And so hopefully the message we bring you today is one that is healing and one that is something that you needed from today. Yay! So I didn't do the Hobi reel. I feel so bad about it. It took me forever. This one that we did for Tay is beautiful. So I'm going to play that for you. Anyone have any comments while I get this all ready?
Very excited.
Yeah, the team is so excited right now because I was thinking because, I came on in 2014. Joanna came on, found the boys in 2017. And then Tessa found them just a few years later. It's like we have like this little intermission of like almost the same amount of years between us discovering them, which I was like, that is so interesting because I don't want to say generationally because that's not how that works with Bangtan, right? It has nothing to do with that. But according to their comebacks and their journey, which we learned in beyond the story, I think that we came on all of very different parts in their life as they had step forwards and step movements. So I think, we're bringing those different concepts and those awarenesses into the show. So yay. Tessa, you became Army when?
Last fall. So very fresh, last year. But as they always say, they tend to find you when you need them the most or when it best fits into your life. So maybe late, but I've tried to catch up on a lot and definitely enjoying all of it. So
well, look at you. You are literally coming up on your anniversary and look at what you're doing.
Exactly.
That's insane. I've been around a long time with these lovely human beings, and here I am. It's taken a long time to get here. Like Yoongi, I mean, like they all say it, right? We find them, they find us. I prefer to say they find us. When the
and then as I always say, it was through my daughter as well as a teenager, and she loved K-pop and everything and brought me into it, and I was introduced to their world, so it was through her.
Happy daughter. Love her. I don't know if we're able to see our viewers because there's sometimes, as you know, with the show, because we're on multiple platforms, we can't always see viewers. So I'm trying to keep an eye out just in case. And as viewers know, they are absolutely welcome to go ahead and start chatting and asking us questions about today, discussing. And as always, I will post any of the key points into the chat so you have it to save for later. Okay, I am going to play a little bit of a reel. I don't want to play the whole thing because it actually is for a post I'm doing for the other group that I work with. But I'm in love with the reel. And I put so much love in I feel like I put my heart into this thing. So, and it's relevant to today's discussion. So I'm going to play half of it only. I'm going to go ahead and stop my cam. Okay. Gotta stop cam. Thank you.
Lost without you, baby. I wish you would love me again. No, I don't want nobody else. I wish you could love me again. I wish you would love me again. No, I don't want nobody else. I wish you could love me again. 자꾸 이런 거지 내 옆에 있던 사람 괜찮니 여천으로 천천히 Make you feel better, you make it forever 괜찮단 말하지 마 Said I'm alright, said I'll be fine I'm sorry 거짓말은 떠나지 마 저리 가지 마 그래 솔직하게 더 말할래 너는
Okay. I said I was going to play the whole thing and I got lost. It's actually not the whole thing. The entire reel has a lot more to it. Oh, we lost Tessa. Not sure what happened, but hopefully she'll jump on pretty soon. So that's actually a reel for another another group. It's got a lot more to it, a lot more content, but a lot of the main concept is one that we're going to be talking about today. So I think, are you ready for the next part?
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome back, Tessa. I'd like to feel like it doesn't matter when you came in. Whatever time period within their 10 years or so now that you came in, you will always find them like they're comforting and healing messages. It's very transcendent, I think, and so it's always so welcoming. And like that video by Tay, I was singing along at how comforting his baritone is. Like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. Today's show actually will highlight our angel, of course, our Bantam Visual King Tae Young, how his album Tae's LayOver promotions, they truly represented his inner child and self-confidence. I think if Nisha and Tessa would like to speak about that, and any of our viewers would like to chime in, how do you feel like with the promotions coming in, how it came in at the right time too, right after like Suga had this big announcement. He just dropped the ball on us after he said peace out at that last concert. It's just how playful he is. He used his human baby. It just really represented his inner child and his self-confidence as well. Nisha, Tessa, do you guys have any thoughts about that?
In terms of Taehyung,
Yes, motion.
I always have thoughts in terms of Taehyung. Are you asking me that question for real, woman?
No, I agree with Joanna. It was the perfect time. His timing for it couldn't be a better time after sort of processing and getting through, the Sugar's tour and the huge message with it. And this was just very comforting, as you said. Just very warm. It was a big hug and embrace to sort of like, melt you down and reflect and be comfortable. So the timing, it was perfect.
Well, he's a very purposeful person. Jay is nothing if not purposeful. I'm going to say that 100%. There's a high level of intuition that he has cultivated, whether it was intentionally or not, from the moment that even when he was younger, the mind was always thinking and perceiving and taking in a situation. If you go back to run BTS, everywhere that he is, he takes in those moments, which is why sometimes it takes him a little bit of time, right? Mm-hmm. To answer something. It's because he's so intentional. Do you, Tessa, do you want to explain what intentional means? So in case people don't understand it when we say it?
Sure, I don't mind. It has a lot to do with mindfulness. To be really intentional, you have to be fully present and grounded, and to be fully present and grounded, you have to have that level of just that self-awareness and that confidence and that satisfaction. So you can just be really present, not tied in sort of like an anxiety or worriness of what's coming next or what happened in the past, but just fully present and aware. And to be grounded and sound, to be able to take everything in, is along those lines, I would say.
I love it. Do you have a take on it, Joanna?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with Tessa being grounded, being aware. Also, there's this sense of purposefulness. Like, when you're intentional, there's a purpose, there's deliberate purpose. Putting those two words together, you're not just deliberate, but there's a purpose that comes with it. Mm-hmm. And that's, his confidence just exudes, and so, and he can be this serious, mysterious guy, but also at the same time, when his inner child comes chiming out of him, he's just this little, and he loves kids. And so I think when he when he's being intentional with us, with his messaging and his songs and his videos and his actions. He can be a cook, but it's also deliberate. There's a purpose for it. He takes us on a journey, and I think that's a part of his self-confidence that exudes, and it's beautiful.
And I know that he had said in 2020, I believe it was, in an interview, bring the soul, because I talk about it a little bit later on, where he was struggling with self-esteem. I think that was a manifestation of the amount of guys, we're also talking about Hobi today, so please understand the conversation is about both of them. So with the struggles that they had as they were coming forward, what do you think that Tay is manifesting in terms of that intentionality? The book kind of laid it out. He was very straightforward about, you see the movement in his earlier concepts of self, and then where he ends up being after 2021, in terms of that confidence.
Yeah. It's funny because, like you mentioned, we're not just talking about V, but we're also talking about Hobi. We have these two extrovert guys that are like social butterflies, to say nonetheless. But we know how Hobi started with, he already left. It's not like we're saying he almost left. He had already left because his self-confidence was being attacked. And nobody likes our own selves being attacked. And so coming out of his shell and having, he's serving in the military right now, but he planned that even in his absence, his presence is there. I mean, that's like deliberate, intentional confidence oozing out. I will keep my presence here because I know I can take space and I can keep space. And that's another thing about confidence is finding yourself your safe space. And that's probably something that Tessa could talk, and Nisha could talk more about, is how the importance of having safe space when you're about to take space, make space, keep space. V definitely has found his space. He was the secret out of this. We thought there were only 6 in the beginning, but there's the secret 7th, and how he came into the picture, how he started and coming in, how his family background, that always plays into our confidence. But when you find yourself and you make space for yourself, because where you're grounded at, we were talking about being grounded.
Yeah.
That just spells a whole lot of difference. Did you guys want to talk more about safe space as well?
You also mentioned in your chats about a cushion of comfort, and I want to just toggle on that. And then Tessa, I'm sure you're going to take it from there. All 7 of them are our cushions of comfort. I mean, there's not a moment, I don't think, because I was challenged this week by someone, and it was really unintentional. They did not mean to do it to me at all. Trust me, this is not a person who judges or has any negative concept whatsoever of how much I love the boys. But the person used the word obsessed when she was when she was describing my involvement with them. And I had to really reel it. And I said, the word obsession has many connotations to it. They are our source of comfort. And you saw that I posted a clarification, literally, and because I want people to understand how to use that word correctly. So let's toggle back on that. The boys being a comfort level. And then you mentioned vulnerability, so I'd love to go into that. Hi, somebody's, let me see if that's me. Hang on.
Yeah, so while Nisha's working into that, Tessa, did you want to add something about safe space, cushion of comfort?
That's why one of my favorite songs from Hobi is the Safety Zone song, but I know we're going to get to that. But that's exactly along in that line. We're kind of jumping ahead, and I love that song. I love that song as well too. And it's funny, as we were just talking about the timeline, it's interesting, Hobi's and him coming out and Lollapalooza early on was kind of the first, and Tay knew he's the last. Everybody's getting, and everybody was waiting for Tay to finally come out with his piece. And So just the experience to this, that could be so different as being one of the first ones from the BTS group coming up and doing their work, and V knowing everyone's just waiting for his own finally at the end. It would be an interesting. So I mean, he's sort of seen how everybody has presented their style of music, how they present themselves. So he really had to be grounded and true in who he was as a person and who he wanted to present and what he wanted to say as a message. And he really did that so beautifully. And as we all are really, excited for the rest of what LayOver has to offer.
Oh my gosh, you're totally right. Hobi came in first, and now we have V finally.
Thank you.
Right,
You
right,
got
right. Oh my
You
gosh.
got it. Because Hobi is like technically the first person to get into their space, and then technically Tay was the last person to come into that space. They didn't do it in order. That's okay. But I just thought that was such an interesting didactic for us to be getting it in that way. And we got Tay a year after Hobi. Like I was like, okay, that's why I came up with the concept of we got to do a year journey, the solo year journey. Now,
yeah. So right now we have Tay's 2 songs out of his LayOver album, "Rainy Days" and "Love Me Again." These songs, they express melancholy. I think it expresses melancholy, but because I love how these songs, they pave the way for us to allow ourselves to feel, to accept, to embrace the emotions of sadness. When we just came out of this entire world tour that August D had set for us, and it's like it's okay to be mad, it's okay to express the emotion of anger, and there's a healthy way of doing that. And now we're coming into the emotion of melancholy, basically, have the heavy side, which is more like the sadness side. But his first song, "Love Me Again," it dropped the day after Big Hit hit all of us with the announcement that Suga, who just literally 10 hours capped his April to August world tour with a V Live saying see you soon, doesn't feel like the entire truth, so we'll just see you later or something like that. But could you just imagine the immense feeling a lot of ARMY felt? Because I know it hit me hard. And then here comes V to the rescue, almost like an Ant-Pan man right here with his 2 songs. It's almost like he became, like what Nisha had mentioned, like a cushion of comfort while we all just want to stay in our little caves for a while. And he's saying a day after "Love Me Again," he released "Rainy Days," which then took that tug in our hearts to more of a hug. It makes you smile a little because, future's going to be okay. Message Suga left right after he walked out of the door. But despite the rain, visually represented, especially in "Rainy Days," but it was indirectly kind of connotated on "Love Me Again." V is literally singing to us and showing us that we can all camp in our comfort zone for now, and we'll be okay. It's okay to feel sad and and to be in our cushion of comfort.
That's really what I wanted us to talk about. So ARMY, it's about understanding that transcending. We've talked. Okay, our entire show is about grounding, and from the beginning of the show, all 29 episodes, we always come back to the concept of acknowledgement. Remember, we talk about that, and grounding. They will always be the 2 things. So here we are acknowledging it was okay for us to have that emotional bereavement. We felt bereft for a moment. Grief. We've been in a cycle of not sure what it means to have grief of this type because of the 1-year journey with the boys as they've shifted, and we're not sure what's happening. And we live in that uncertainty. But I do see us having become completely different people in the I'm going to say in the 14 months since the announcement. I know Tessa wasn't there at that time, technically, just shortly after. But you still were right in the midst of us trying to figure out, because we got the announcement in October of military. But let me come back to the vulnerability then. Aren't they saying that it's okay? Be vulnerable. ARMY, be vulnerable. Let that vulnerability shine, because that's actually being authentic. That's grounding yourself in allowing the emotion to exist. Tessa, does that make sense?
Right. And I just wanted to really pick up on that. The vulnerability and grounding, it also talks about how relatable it is as well too, just making it so personable. And I know we're gonna talk about his music video for Rainy Day a bit. But I really, really loved it, and I, made some points on there to talk about eventually. But just the very simple little things of life, laying in bed, on the phone, falling asleep on the couch, watching TV, all that very relatable things as well, make it just, that much more meaningful, and to the singer. So I love the music. I always love the music. I just love to see what they choose to portray in the music videos as well. And there's some other elements of the music video that I appreciated too, if we eventually get to that.
And when we do our live reaction, so what's going to be happening, fam, if you get a chance to watch this show, is because we never get enough time to actually react to the videos and to really peel away the layers of the lyrics the way that we love to. You notice it in here in our show when we do it, it really pushes the show too long, but everyone actually wants it. A lot of people want us to deep dive, so we've decided that we're actually going to be doing reaction videos, which we will pre-record, and they will be pre-recorded, and we will be dropping those through Twitch so that you'll be able to find them there. And we're going to follow all the rules and the regulations. But for us, our reaction is completely different. Our reaction is this deep dive that Tessa was just talking about.
I'm holding it back.
Hold it in, Carol. Don't tell anybody yet. We got so much. We are actually going to be starting with probably Safety Zone Future, and then we're going to deep dive straight into LayOver. So we are launching our full reactions, I believe, with LayOver, and I think we're going to be starting those in towards middle to end, like 2 or 3 weeks. So just please look forward to those. So toggling on that, may I ask you as we run down, because we have a lot written here, how about the perspective? Talk about a genius brain, this man's mind, right? And I'm going to look at Hobi, and then I'm going to look at Tay in this. These two men chose, Hobi chose to do his entire album from the perspective of Pandora's box, hope coming out and finding its way in the world. And what was it if hope came out to a world that was full of trauma and tragedy? And how can we hold on to then knowing who I am and my identity, looking at it from this largesse, like literally one of the largest concepts that in existence has been this concept. Then Tay decides, I'm going to do Rainy Days from Yantan's point of view. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because the animals and dog, come on, man, their perspective on the world is so real and so authentic and so true. The choice to see love from that perspective as the one that he wanted to focus on, I get my mind blown by all of them all the time. But this was like, what? Oh, look, Yantan debuted.
But like our pets, especially dogs, I'm kind of leaning towards dogs more, but Sugar has got me looking into cats. Anyways, that's a commercial on the side. Like dogs are so innocent and they're so sacrificial. It's almost so pure. They would do everything to be by your side and to defend you, and so their outlook and perspective in life is totally different. And then we're looking at Hobi, and you're right, like opening the Pandora's box and coming into a world of trauma and bringing hope into it like a butterfly, right? But then when you listen to his messages, it's all about burning passion. You got to come in there strong, you have to have, like we were talking about being intentful and like the intention, being deliberate, the purpose. There's so much passion, and he's saying in his songs, like, I'm not done yet. I know it's been 10 years coming, but I've got more to bring in the table. There's a lot of arson inside of you, fire inside of you.
Yeah.
You have to keep that passion burning.
Burning.
Such a huge message. And then
Not enough.
like this spectrum of emotions that our boys are taking us along with them, it's just so amazing. But each one of them coming in strong with such vulnerability, exposing themselves to
Didn't they both tell us it was okay to feel emotion with both of these? The passion of Moore and arson
Right.
belies the gentleness of safety zone and future. The way that Hobi layered the reflection, the music of it, right? And then he's like, I want you to understand all of us have this passion burning inside of us. And I took the lead to say that we were ready to burn away the layers of this thing, of the oppression, of the pain and the sorrow, which we now know from beyond the story. Word was it a lot. We watched it with him, and now Tay's like, but we're gentle souls. At the base of it, we're gentle human beings. We are healing. We've healed the so the dichotomy and the duality of where we started, what this story is, the complement of the two is just it's beautiful.
Yeah, like pets are also made to be companions. And he brings with us, like V with his two songs at the very least, brings with us that sense of his need for companionship. These two songs alone, like we all know how V is openly authentic about himself. He shows up, he can be serious, he's a social butterfly, he's this mysterious, enchanting person, and the next thing you know, he's a cook, like making funny faces and complimenting, like turning his ugly looks on without a care for others may think or say about it. That characteristic of him really shines through these two songs off of his album. I can't wait to hear the rest of them. But through these two songs, he just completely exposed his raw self and emotions.
Yes.
Why should a lot of us be scared to be straightforward about what we feel?
Yeah.
Like what we think, Why should we underline our true selves? Is it fear of other people's opinions? Why does that matter? It's kind of like V is inviting us to be genuinely candid about her. And Hobi does that too in his like entire Hope World presentation.
So I put up the first question for Army. Remember, unfortunately, with the comments, once the show is over, you can't grab that comment and that question. So I want to make sure that we are that everyone has an opportunity. I'm hoping usually we have the chats. That's the one that I put up. And this is so we have two, and usually we put at least two that we put out to Army so that they can answer us. So I'm hoping we have people on, just so you know, I could see them and I can see them in our other things. Sometimes I don't know, why we can't always see them all at the same time, but that's technology for you.
Hi, Athara.
That was my friend Athara. I'm so happy she's on. So I like to ask this question a lot. How I can explore and magnify my own potential by exploring the healthy messages and content of BTS. So, we're talking now as we move down in our little script, because we got a lot going on there. I put the question in there. We could ponder it. And then I want us to talk about this one. So, Army, how do these songs and Tay and Hobi's music video imagery and storytelling encourage us to connect to our emotions and embrace them? I think we just talked about the duality of these two different presentations, and they 1,000% tell us be your authentic self and your vulnerable authentic self. That's what I'm thinking. What do you guys think?
Tessa, do you have anything?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's okay to have almost polarizing, or have to have both. You can be really lonely or as and melancholic, as some of us saying, but still be really satisfied and happy. It's okay to have the full range and to have a mix of different things at any one point in time. As I said, as I see the question asked up about the music video as well too. It was something that I only caught after a couple of times that I watched it. in the reel at the beginning of the music video, it has a few words about when you listen really carefully, loops go wheeling, cozy and stuck. So it's a little bit about sort of feeling stuck sometimes in sort of a loop or in a certain emotion and feeling a little bit trapped in that, of kind of looking back or being reflective of, as the song and the words say, of wishing to have somebody back or looking back at things you wish can change, but also letting go and being able to move forward. So, even that authenticity in itself and really being grounded, it's okay to still feel a mix of different emotions or a mix of different things. As I like to say, always in a state of becoming, you kind of accepting where you're at and where you are right now, but knowing where you want to be after that.
100,000%. Like, you speak my language. This is what I say to people. We are transitional people. There's our other term. We talk about acknowledgement, grounding, and I talk about transition. It comes back all the time. We exist in a state of transition every single day. Every moment we're transitioning. You're listening to this show. We're listening to ourselves talk about this concept, and we're all transitioning and changing as we sit here, right? So it's allowing ourselves to be able to be vulnerable enough to listen and absorb that concept and say, okay, I needed to learn something else today. That is one of the brilliant things about these 7 gems. Throughout Beyond the Story, throughout Jack in the Box, we are learning about allowing ourselves to learn and know that we're getting it wrong, and then know we're going to get it. Oh, maybe we're going to move on to something a little bit more. Maybe I'm going to understand more now as I burn away the things that are holding me back. Does that make sense?
It's like, oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's like it's okay to like being real and grounded and validating where you are and how you feel at that moment. It's important to validate it, but then also recognize where you can go from there. That's what I was thinking. Okay.
In a nutshell, I love that. Why don't you type it into the private chat, Tessa, and then I'll actually put it in for Army, because when I like something, I put it so that they can save that concept. I actually oftentimes take what everyone says and create the banners from it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because that's, it's a good concept. They're important. I love the concept of validation. The next thing you pointed out, because thank you so much, Joanna. Joanna had her first opportunity today to physically create our script. What a good job you did. Such a good job.
I hope it's making sense though, but like you were talking about transition and so kind of like looping it back into the script, but I think this is a very interesting concept. Transition versus transcension. Yes. Transition is like to bring about change, right? Transcending is, or transcending is surpassing. There's a huge difference, but our boys are able to just kind of eliminate both. So they're incredible geniuses in doing both. Like
Namjoon is literally, I don't want to stop you, but I'm going to lose this thought.
Yeah.
Literally, we are walking through Namjoon's transition and transcension. He's walking us through it step by step by step. Everything you see this man posting is about those 2 phases of himself, and then acknowledging in the middle, and then moving on to the next phase. It hits me so hard. I don't mean to stop you. I was like, I'm gonna lose that thought. Let me just.
It's beautiful because they're allowing us to show that not only can we embrace change and keep growing and keep progressing, and I'm not even going to mention about the maturity level that I know we're gonna talk about that in Namco, but I'm gonna stop there. But like, but oh my gosh, like they're also showing us that you can transcend. Don't be afraid to break open and break loose. And interesting with your question, like how do these songs, specifically the 2 songs that we have from V, it's very much based on love, but not love as an emotion per se. He's kind of saying that love is more of a truth than a feeling.
Ooh.
Love has the capacity to break open spaces in our hearts to heal as
Girl.
much as it is heartbreak and pain. Like that's duality right there. But that's the truth though. All of us have a perception and notion of what love must be. But it's not just that expectation that we have to keep on looking at. Love is transcendent of all definitions, all expectations. Love is probably an exception to all those definitions and expectations, because love can take us beyond desire and attachment. And, it can take us beyond loss and devotion. It can take us beyond sacrifice, forsaken, even beyond a state of relationship. These songs, it highlights this kind of love. It's a transcendent love. You can weave through his lyrics, his baritone, his emotions that's undertoned in those words. In both songs, it's like he is saying, I love beyond my relationship to this person, or this just okay, but whether that person is next to me
Major.
1,000 miles away, whether they're my lover, my brother, my friend, even my enemy, whether they hurt me, cause me feelings of fear, frustration, grief, I love in a way that gives that love freely as a person can. And that creates in me a feeling of deep calm. That's like love transcendent. It simply is. So, like, listening to his song in depth makes me wonder, have we loved someone in a way that we want truly, genuinely what is best for them, regardless of our hopes, our fears, wishes, and attachments? It's so like face value. Oh, it's a beautiful, moving song, but like going in depth, the genius of it. What do you guys think?
Let me just tell you, I posted something yesterday on YouTube, and I caught a 2-minute clip of Jungkook's 2021 birthday live. And his birthday live is where he decided to write his love song for his army that we got finally this year. That's why I started to cry. Ugh, emotional wheel.
I'm glad you're crying again. You're back.
You know me by
You
now.
did it, Brianna.
I'm gonna cry at least once a show. The entire world knows this by now. It was my transition, transcendence. When I watched his live, and I watched him take our words, and he was like, "You just tell me words. We're here together. We love each other. We're sharing together. We're unified. What you write, I'm turning into this. As you write it, I'm turning into this." I was live watching it. I was live doing it and going, this is insanity that this man is transitioning this relationship that we have. And he's taking it and it transcends the normalcy of a relationship. It was a transcending relationship. And I literally just posted this last night, that those minutes created a transcending moment for me. And that's what set Bangtan aside from everything else and everyone else. If I'd had a question, it was something I found listening to him and watching him do that live and realizing what it meant for me as sorry, I didn't expect to cry today. However, whenever I talk about that live, I will, because it means that much to me. So, which most people don't know. And to give you a little bit of flavor, we have Namcook coming up in the next month, and you're going to be seeing a little bit more about that. So anyway, that is what you tapped into right there. I literally just posted the thing on YouTube yesterday about that transcending love.
I think what BTS and ARMY has is not obsession. It's not even what people keep
Thank
talking.
you.
It's religion almost. Like, no, it's love that
Not love,
transcends. It
pure love.
transcends beyond culture, beyond language. It just breaks through all of these things that have become barriers, genres. It's what BTS and Army has is love transcendence.
There you
Period.
go. And
Right?
that when I tell people that, and I describe my 7 boys, Jungkook has always been a part of love. And it's not that all of them aren't love, but there's a thing about this child, and I say child, so don't kill me, Army, on this one. There's a thing about him where he represents the pieces of love that's not transitional and transcendent, and they all of them do. But he's a culmination of all 7. He went on Suchita and said that.
Himself.
He physically said it himself. So in the past, I haven't said it because I didn't want people to not misunderstand what I was saying. But I look at him and I see this culmination of 7 parts of love, including his own. Does that, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I know that we jumped out, but as you know we're going to talk about all of them. So, oh my God, that's what we get when we have the Hobi and we get Tay. They are the embodiment of that level of love, and they've been that, even though they fight, even though they get angry, and all of these things that has nothing to do with it, right? And I think I wonder if when he's talking about love me again, I didn't see it as a physical love, but that's okay because it probably, it might mean that as well, and it to someone else it means something else. To me, it's more about I want you to love me again. Is it himself he's talking to? Is it the is it itself that he's talking to? I saw it as himself talking to himself. I saw it as the parts of Tay. I saw it as a second step to inner child, if I may say. Yeah, I saw it as the next step, the handshake. And you guys, if you watch my show, we talk about handshakes all the time and how one song leads to another. Love Me Again felt like it was the movement and the move forward if inner child in this. So, it doesn't have to be, but in my heart, that's what I felt. Does that make sense?
Oh my gosh, you have brought that to another level again, Nisha. That hit me hard. I'm like, I have to sing that to myself now. We're talking about V here. He's like the king of dualities. It's really obvious in his, his truest personality. V has genuinely presented through his songs the concepts, at least these 2 ones. Well, all of his songs. Whoever boys are. They have these songs that okay, so these 2, they have the concept of moving forward, and then he's also allowing us to revisit the past.
Yeah, to revisit.
It's like reminiscent. It's okay to go to your memory lane, whether it's sad, happy. It's emotions of joy versus pain. There's desperation and desire versus waiting and hope. And that's evident too in Jack in the Box. And then there's the conflict between communication, like I want to talk to this person but also I feel abandoned, and then he has this external facade, no, I'm okay, but then there's this internal turmoil going on, and we've seen a lot of that in Suga's D-Day.
Yes
Just like emotional distance versus mutual reconciliation, which is kind of hard because emotional distance is so present between Army and BTS, and they are constantly wanting to put out, messages and V lives and everything just to keep that connection, and we mutually respond, which is cool, because we just we're cool right now.
You literally just answered the question I put up. You see that, right?
So I know that we can definitely dive more in depth into these concepts of dualities when we dig deeper and discuss the lyrics of each of the songs. from his upcoming album. I'm so glad we're doing the layovers. So yeah, I'm glad I answered your question.
Started it this way, yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. Tessa, did you want to chime in? Maybe one of the music videos.
So we're gonna, and then after that, we're gonna jump straight into that. Exactly, that's where we are now. So if that's okay, do you want to
Right.
talk about the? Yeah, go ahead and do your, please.
Yeah, I think I mentioned some of it already, specifically the Rainy Day music video. I kind of jumped into that. We were talking about, how he visually presented it. And just to jump back on the pets piece a little bit, I mean, it was significant enough. He put Tani on his album pick like cover, and we talked about because I think yesterday was International Dogs Day or something. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it was, and I thought about you talked about the loyalty of pets, but I found this pretty good article that really talked about the possible mental health benefits of having that a pet and animal collection. And
Do you
how it-
want to post it into the chat so I can go ahead and say, share that to everyone?
Sure, I'll see if I get it.
Love it.
And it's I'll put it in, and it lowers your blood pressure and reduces loneliness. That was his soul partner in that music video. It was him and his pet, and helps with emotional and social skills. And of course, there's a lot of studies out there with connecting with different animals to help with students with different types of disabilities. And you see therapy dogs coming into the schools, and you see therapy pets and
Everyone.
that sort of thing. It's very real. There's a lot of research support the mental health sort of benefits that can come from pets. But we talked about just mindfulness, about just the dog just being fully present and having that unconditional love and response back, no matter what mood you're in. They can see that you're in a certain mood. So I thought about that when I thought about how he had, well, not the real Tiny though, right? We found that out in the music.
No, betrayer.
But close enough, but to represent just that, and people who may be feeling lonely and that sort of thing in the music video.
Right.
We spoke much about the other things in the music video already.
I think we should do. We've been saying it. It's on our list to do. Probably closer to our Taejin month, because we have a full schedule, Army. You have no idea what we've planned out for you for the next 6 months. There's a ton coming to you. I think we're probably just going to do a separate live just to show you what we have coming, because it's so much. But I want to just mention, we talking about the transcending love with their pets, all 7 of them. And of course, like we talked about, Money passing away a few months ago. And where's Namjoon and his thoughts in terms of that grief wheel? They've all, look how close we feel to all of their pets, because they feel like our own. And I mean, the day he showed Tanny through that window for Jin's birthday live, I can remember that. And I'm like, here this is our babies getting a debut. I was like, this is just, why am I connected to them as much as I am to my aunt? We have our puppers, and we have cats as well. So I do have both. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and really quickly, because we only have a few minutes left, 10 minutes to close out. As always, we can never get through a show. Never going to happen. Never, never, never. I'm just going to read really quickly, because in Hobi's letter to Army that he wrote in the Jack in the Box new edition, or in Take 2 as I call it, it was extremely, he reveals what he learned about his inner turmoils and demons, how he has transcended, there we go, and actualized his own awareness of himself. With every new drop, whether it be an album, an ambassadorship, or a new live, are all sending the same message. They are reaching out of their comfort zones and allowing themselves to be a little frightened and do solo work in order to come back to us as a better group as a whole. We are supposed to, as always, trust them and know they love us as much as we love them. And we do, because there hasn't been a minute of the last 16 months where we haven't been given something more than we ever were before to give us comfort, to create that safe space, to create just like, even it was passionate moments, happy moments, everything else. Whether that's through their fashion, their lyrics, their writing, their artwork, their social bonds, their collaborations, their dance and choreo. All of it tells us It helps us to build a world of emotion, spirit, compassion, and hope. So when we listen to Jack in the Box and now Jack in the Box 2, what are the songs telling us about Hobi? 1 year later, we're seeing a whole different understanding of why he had written the songs, because he himself went back and revisited them. And he talked about his own sense of authenticity. I read that letter and I just cried, because I thought to myself, if we could write our own letters to ourselves, one now and write it later, and look at our journey about who we are, our authentic selves, wouldn't it be incredible if we were able to be that raw with ourselves, if that makes sense? So I'm so sorry. We have a lot of feedback. I apologize, guys. If you guys don't mind muting in between, because I'm not sure where it's coming from.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, no idea where that came from. I'm so sorry, guys. That was crazy. But hopefully you can hear me still, right? Yeah, okay, perfect. So maybe the things that he reflected on were the authenticity and his self-awareness. And it's not hard to imagine why, because we're lucky to have his documentary where he literally tells us step by step what he went through to create Jack in the Box. And he was so self-reflective, so self-analyzing. He was very hard on himself. If you looked at it, and Namjoon comments, Jin comments, everybody, and Yoongi comments, again, in Suchita, he had lost so much weight because he got so caught in those moments of trying to figure out, what story am I telling? Who am I telling the story about? Who is it that I'm reflecting here? What is it about the perfectionism? Because there's a level of OCD or perfectionism to Hobi that I'm sure that we all connect to and can identify with, where he himself had to learn later, maybe it was okay to let go of things. He just completely opened the door with this letter and saying, I needed to reflect on myself. And I realized, that I needed to listen. I didn't realize you were going to need these albums, that you would need the physical albums. I didn't realize it was something I needed to leave you tangibly, only to come back and say, I'm sorry that I didn't do that. That is just so raw. It's such an emotional place for him to come back and put that in his album, that he's being self-aware enough and he's apologetic. I don't need him to apologize to me. I wanted the album because we wanted it for him. He said in the letter, if you think about it, he didn't realize how much we would want it for him, not because of him, for him. We wanted him to have that. We wanted him to have the accolades just like everyone else, because that makes us happy. And he said, whoa, I see. Maybe I didn't understand that I didn't give you that opportunity. And he gave us the new album. And let me just say, we have the message of hope in this new album, the way that he's done it. But his letter for me was everything. His letter, I felt like it was like this combination of all of the messages that he had to learn himself and he had to give us. So, and then of course we have the new documentary coming out, and then the old documentary. I cannot wait to be able to have that, to see that new documentary. But I myself, obviously, I love Hobi, so I was just so like, that letter's transitional. When I say how JK's live was a transitional moment, like, I will hold on to this letter as a completely a transitional piece of my own puzzle, because it helped me to understand that I have to allow myself to say I have my faults, and then tell myself it's okay to have had those faults and to have made all of those mistakes. But then also accept that there's something in the world around me that I have to learn from. And that will also help me to become better, a better part of who I am. So I hope that all makes sense and I wasn't just rambling. Okay. You guys go ahead. You can unmute. I'm sorry. I don't know where that extra sound was from.
Is it me?
Yeah, it's on yours, Joanna, but it's okay. Don't you worry. It's all good.
Uh-oh.
Who knows?
Okay.
Could be an MC.
In that case, I'll mute myself.
No.
Let Tessa talk, because I've been rambling about G the whole time.
So we are actually at the end of the show, and I know that we're going to be bringing in the next one the healing power of music as something that's going to be as we move through the series of our lives, of our reactions. So I think that that's going to be the basis of what we do. And you could comment on that real quick, and then we're ready to close out the show because we're at our last 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, we will definitely do it next time. But it's just an article that I found that just came out just yesterday, and just a lot of research out there of the real healing power of music, not just for the soul, but for the body. It goes in together. It talks about the psychological and the physiological response and healing power of music. So I'm very excited to talk about that some more and have us as a team talk about it and how it relates in so many aspects and so many avenues of life.
I cannot wait for us to open up that window. We have so much content to go through. We could probably do this for 3 years. I mean, we only have like how many albums? Their discography is massive. So we did Born Singer together, so we know. All right, my loves. So I think we did pretty good. I think we touched on all the main points for today's show. It's amazing. We did good. I'm so sorry I had to squish Hobi and how this new Jack in the Box realm, but I think as we go back and we do the actual reaction, that we'll have a little bit more time to deep dive into those. If you have an actual song you'd like us to work on, a song that you'd like us to chat about or to do the reaction to, and knowing that it's going to be about the wellness wheel, that's the positively wellness wheel and through the healing messages of Bangtan, let me know. Let us know. I was thinking about Namjoon's song Reflection. So at some point in life, there's no question we are going to do a series on Wings because, well, that's my baby. And no matter what I do, it sits in my heart and will always sit in my heart. So, and we're about to get youth, right? For youth, like the drama's coming out in November, and hello, it's literally Wings. Because that's what it's based on. It's based on that entire narrative that they through the Bangtan films. I remember Tessa telling you, make sure you get back in there and try and watch all of the short films. If you hadn't, they're going to blow your mind. And I think as we go through, we should do the short film reactions and talk about the messages that they're sending with each of the songs, how they represent those songs, what they represent in their transition in 2016, 2015, 2016. I think that's going to be incredible. So you're going to see us start doing that. And Joanna, you can go over all the things that the boys are bringing us with, because it's a lot.
Yeah, no, but I really just want to say, guys, I'm very excited for the upcoming reaction videos, especially that it's coming from, there's a lot of reaction videos out there, but particularly these reaction videos will come from a neuropsych perspective, touching on trauma informed and touching on mental health and wellness. So that brings it to another level. I'm very excited, very, very excited. So we do have a lot of things coming up, of course. Well, Nisha already mentioned about the youth drama. There's the BTS documentary Disney Plus. There's the BTS Monuments Beyond the Star Disney Plus Hotstar series. Oh my gosh, can't wait. The Seoul Edition 2023 promos. We saw Jun and Jin. Now we have Tae, so looking forward to his album coming up. Jin's Brewery. There's Yoongi. I haven't heard from him for a while. I'm glad that he still has Sutrata. I hope he has a lot of recordings to keep us. But
the team version.
Yeah, the Taste version. Oh my gosh! And then of course, Hobi's Hope on the Street documentary is coming. Namjoon, he did mention a new album, so that's still coming up. Of course, Jim and Tiffany. He has been quiet for a while. So, and then Taste, Pixit and Tiny Desk. And then there's also Jungkook's album. We're waiting on that too. So yeah, lots and lots of things to look forward to.
Yeah, there's just so much going on. And Suga's new line coming out with NBA, which was officially announced. And so I hope we all put our notification in there that we were interested. So that's coming up soon. So we just have constantly something going on. Tay has at least 4 shows that he's going to be on with his promos in the K-pop one, and then he's going to be having something to do with the new Soul Edition in the series. So I'm kind of curious to see what that's going to be. And, just so much going on. It's so hard to keep up. You guys have to start sending me information so I don't miss it. There's so much going on. All right, my dears, thank you so much for being with us. And we love you as always. And we didn't really we decided not to do the lyrics. I want to, but we're not going to. And remember that we love and appreciate you all. And I'd love to hear from each of you. So if you can just drop a purple heart and thumbs up here and join us in the chat, as always, anytime that we're on here, because without you, the show isn't complete. It's true, because you're usually the reflection of us, and you help us to keep the chat going. You help us to keep the conversation going. And remember, we're back. We'll be here on Sundays, and then we have our new series coming out pretty soon. So, Jorge, everyone, we're trying so hard to keep this show under an hour. We almost did it. All right, my loves. Bye, everyone. Have a good one. Apple Bangpo. Love everybody. Bye.